We were clueless as to what could have caused this tragedy right under our noses. In an era when we have the internet, satellite, radar communication, it just disappears off the radar screen.
For years, rumors have circulated about Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, the jet that mysteriously vanished without a trace in 2014. Countless searches and investigations have come up empty, fueling endless speculation.
The wreckage of the plane, despite the efforts of the world's top aviation experts, had seemingly vanished without a trace.
Now, a bold new claim is making waves. Artificial intelligence has reportedly identified the wreckage, leaving scientists and experts stunned. It sounds like the breakthrough the world has been waiting for, but is it truly real? Stay tuned as we cut through the noise to uncover what AI is revealing. The disappearance of MH370. It was a quiet Saturday night on March 8, 2014, when Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 prepared for departure from Kuala Lumpur International Airport. The Boeing 777-200ER was bound for Beijing, carrying 227 passengers and 12 crew members. On board were families, business travelers, students, and holidaymakers, 239 lives heading into the night sky, unaware they were about to become part of the greatest mystery in modern aviation. At 12:41 a.m., MH370 lifted off the runway. For the first 40 minutes, everything appeared normal. The plane climbed steadily, made radio contact with air traffic control, and settled into its route across the South China Sea. Minutes later, the plane vanished from civilian radar screens. No distress call, no emergency signal, just silence. Air traffic controllers tried repeatedly to reach the crew, but there was no reply. Initially, it seemed like a technical glitch. After all, modern jets don't just disappear. But as the hours passed, it became clear this was no simple malfunction. Military radar data later revealed something chilling. Instead of continuing on its flight path toward Beijing, MH370 had veered sharply west, crossing back over the Malay Peninsula. At one point, the plane climbed to an unusual altitude, then descended again, before disappearing from radar entirely over the Andaman Sea. It was as if the aircraft had been deliberately taken off course. But why? The first search began in the South China Sea, where the jet had last been seen by civilian radar. But as evidence mounted, the operation shifted thousands of kilometers to the southwest, into the remote stretches of the Indian Ocean. There, investigators believed the plane had continued flying for another 6 hours, before finally running out of fuel. Despite dozens of ships, planes, satellites, and one of the most expensive searches in aviation history, the ocean gave up no answers. Search crews mapped more than 120,000 square kilometers of seabed, and yet the wreckage of MH370 was nowhere to be found. For families waiting in agony, the lack of closure was unbearable, and for investigators, it was baffling. A jet as massive as a Boeing 777 doesn't simply vanish without a trace. Theories spread quickly. Some believed there had been a catastrophic mechanical failure. Others argued it was a deliberate act, whether hijacking, terrorism, or even intentional action by the pilot. Conspiracies flourished online. Government cover-ups, secret landings, or even abductions by forces beyond human comprehension. But through all the noise, one fact remained. The fate of 239 people was still unknown. By the end of 2014, MH370 was officially declared an accident, all passengers presumed dead. Yet the absence of a crash site, black boxes, or definitive answers left a wound that has never healed. To this day, the disappearance of MH370 is described as aviation's greatest unsolved mystery, a puzzle that continues to haunt scientists, investigators, and grieving families more than a decade later. For more than a year after MH370 vanished, search teams scoured the ocean with nothing to show for it. Families waited in agony, and the world began to wonder if the plane would ever be found. Then, in July 2015, came the first breakthrough. The wreckage found. On the shores of Réunion Island, east of Madagascar, a piece of aircraft debris washed up. Local beach cleaners spotted a large object, a wing component known as a flaperon. Within weeks, experts confirmed what many feared. It belonged to MH370. For the first time, there was physical proof the jet had ended its journey in the vast Indian Ocean. That discovery brought both relief and heartbreak. It confirmed the plane had indeed crashed, but it didn't explain why or where. The ocean had given up a fragment, but the rest of the aircraft, and the answers families so desperately needed, remained hidden. In the years that followed, more debris turned up. Along the coasts of Mozambique, Madagascar, Mauritius, and Tanzania, at least 30 objects suspected to be from MH370 were recovered. Some were small fragments of interior panels, while others were larger structural pieces. Of these, 3 were conclusively identified by investigators as parts of the missing Boeing 777. Each new find painted the same picture. The aircraft had broken apart in the southern Indian Ocean. Ocean currents had carried pieces thousands of kilometers westward, eventually depositing them on distant shorelines. Yet the pattern of debris still couldn't reveal the crash site itself. The ocean is simply too vast, its currents too complex, to reverse engineer the exact location from scattered fragments. Still, the wreckage finds were crucial. They silenced conspiracy theories that the plane had landed secretly in another country. They ruled out the idea that MH370 was hidden in a remote airbase or intact in the jungle. The fragments proved beyond doubt that the plane had met its end in the water. But despite this evidence, the central mystery remained untouched. The black boxes, the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder were never recovered. Without them, investigators couldn't determine whether the crash was due to mechanical failure, deliberate action, or something else entirely. For the families, each piece of wreckage was a painful reminder. Proof their loved ones were gone, but still no closure. They had fragments of the story, but the full truth of MH370 remained as elusive as ever. What I found. When the official search for MH370 was suspended in 2018 after years of scouring the seabed, many believed the trail had gone cold forever. But technology was evolving, and one phrase began to dominate discussions about solving the mystery: artificial intelligence. AI has been hailed as the breakthrough tool for problems too complex for human analysis. And when it comes to MH370, complexity is an understatement. The search zone spans millions of square kilometers of deep ocean, a place as hostile and uncharted as outer space. Mapping it all by hand would take lifetimes, but AI can sift through vast amounts of data at a scale no human team could ever hope to match. So what does AI in the MH370 search really mean? The first way AI has been applied is in modeling ocean currents. Investigators know debris from MH370 washed ashore on the coasts of Africa and islands in the western Indian Ocean. But to work backward from those points is like trying to trace a leaf back to the tree it fell from after months of wind. Ocean currents are unpredictable, constantly shifting with the seasons, winds, and tides. This is where machine learning comes in. By feeding AI vast datasets of oceanographic measurements, currents, temperatures, wind speeds, satellite tracking buoys, scientists train algorithms to predict the most likely paths debris would have taken. It's not perfect, but it narrows down the possible crash zones. The second area where AI has proven vital is in sonar analysis. Autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, glide along the seabed, pinging sound waves into the darkness. Those echoes return as grainy images, millions of them. The challenge is distinguishing between natural formations, like rocks and ridges, and possible wreckage. Traditionally, human experts had to comb through these sonar maps manually, an exhausting and error-prone process. Now, AI-powered image recognition can scan the same data in a fraction of the time, flagging anomalies that resemble man-made structures. Instead of looking for a needle in a haystack, AI at least helps sort the hay. Another, more controversial use of AI involves radio signals. A group of researchers proposed using data from the USPR network, a system where amateur radio operators send faint signals that bounce around the world's ionosphere. The idea is that a large metal object, like an aircraft, can disturb those signals. By analyzing thousands of signal anomalies with AI, some scientists claim to have traced MH370's path across the Indian Ocean. The 2025 search. In early 2025, a familiar name returned to the headlines: Ocean Infinity. The US-based deep-sea exploration company had already led a previous private search for MH370 back in 2018. But now it was back with a renewed mission. This time, the technology and the pressure are very different. Ocean Infinity operates fleets of autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, sleek torpedo-shaped robots designed to scour the seabed with sonar. Unlike earlier search vessels that relied heavily on tethered equipment and limited coverage, these AUVs can fan out independently, covering vast areas of ocean floor at unprecedented speed. Each machine can dive thousands of meters deep, navigating the ridges, canyons, and mountains that make the Indian Ocean one of the most hostile environments on Earth. But in 2025, Ocean Infinity has added a new dimension: artificial intelligence. The sonar images collected by their AUVs produce terabytes of data, essentially endless streams of blurry grayscale maps of the seabed. In the past, this data had to be pored over manually by human experts. Now, AI models are trained to recognize patterns and flag anomalies that resemble man-made structures, increasing the chance of spotting wreckage hidden among rocks and trenches. The Malaysian government has granted Ocean Infinity a no-find, no-fee contract. In other words, the company will only be paid if they actually locate MH370. It's a high-risk, high-reward deal. For Malaysia, it reduces financial burden. For Ocean Infinity, it raises the stakes, but also the motivation. After all, finding MH370 would not just be a scientific breakthrough, it would cement their reputation as the world's leading seabed exploration company. This search effort is also informed by years of refined data. Satellite handshakes between the plane and ground stations, drift analyses of floating debris, and ocean current modeling have all helped narrow the search zone. What was once millions of square kilometers has now been reduced to a more focused target area along the so-called 7th arc, the line where experts believe MH370 sent its final satellite ping. Still, the challenges remain enormous. The Indian Ocean is not just deep, it's unpredictable. Currents can distort sonar scans, undersea mountains create blind spots, and pressure at extreme depths can crush equipment. Even with AI, finding a Boeing 777 in this environment is like trying to locate a car somewhere on the surface of the moon. And yet, there is optimism. Ocean Infinity's 2025 campaign is larger, faster, and smarter than any previous attempt. Its fleet can work around the clock, mapping the seabed day after day without fatigue. AI helps cut through the noise, focusing attention on the most promising anomalies. And the lessons from 2018, when the company came close but found nothing, are guiding this new effort. For families, the announcement reignited both hope and fear. Fear that another failed search could once again leave them in limbo. Governments, too, are watching closely. If MH370 is located, it could lead to renewed investigations, lawsuits, and political fallout. But above all, it would bring closure to one of aviation's greatest tragedies. The Ocean Infinity mission represents the best chance yet of solving the MH370 mystery. Whether it succeeds remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. For the first time in years, the world is looking at the southern Indian Ocean again, waiting to see if the deep will finally surrender its secret. Behind every headline about technology, theories, or government decisions lies the true heart of the MH370 story: the families. For them, this isn't just about aviation safety or oceanography. It's about sons, daughters, parents, and loved ones who boarded a plane in Kuala Lumpur and never came home. The reaction of the public. In the early days of the disappearance, relatives were caught in a storm of confusion. Information from officials was scarce and often contradictory. Some were told the plane had turned back. Others heard it might have landed elsewhere. Then came the announcement. MH370 had likely gone down in the Indian Ocean. But with no wreckage, no bodies, and no black boxes, many found it impossible to accept. The debris discoveries years later provided physical proof, but not closure. Holding a piece of twisted metal or torn panel is not the same as knowing why the tragedy happened. It confirmed a loss, but not the story behind it. Families still didn't know if their loved ones had suffered mechanical failure, foul play, or a chain of errors that could have been prevented. For many, the uncertainty has been unbearable. Some relatives still gather each year on the anniversary of the disappearance, holding vigils with candles, photographs, and prayers. Others have taken the fight into their own hands, forming advocacy groups, pressing governments to restart searches, and even funding independent research projects. The human side of this mystery has also highlighted cultural and national divides. MH370's passengers came from more than a dozen countries, including Malaysia, China, Australia, and France. While all were united in grief, their governments sometimes clashed over responsibility, funding, and communication. Families often found themselves caught in the middle, their grief deepened by politics. Artificial intelligence has now become a strange new point of hope. If algorithms can help pinpoint the crash site, if sonar scans can finally locate the fuselage, then perhaps answers will come at last. For some, even the chance of finding the black boxes offers the possibility of closure, to finally hear what happened in those final minutes. But time is not on their side. 11 years have passed. The ocean is relentless, eroding wreckage, scattering pieces and burying clues under silt and pressure. Yet for families, hope remains. The tragedy of MH370 is not just the loss itself, but the limbo of not knowing. And until the wreckage is found, that limbo continues. This is why the human side must never be overshadowed by the technical story. For scientists, MH370 is a puzzle. For governments, it's a responsibility. But for the families, it's everything. Every new claim, every rumor, every announcement reopens wounds. And that is why the search, no matter how difficult, cannot be abandoned. While the hunt for MH370 continues, one thing has become clear. Artificial intelligence is no longer just a tool for the present. It's the future of aviation safety and accident investigation. The future of AI in aviation mysteries. The disappearance of MH370 revealed just how vulnerable modern aviation can be, even in an age of satellites and global tracking. AI promises to make sure a mystery on this scale never happens again. One of the biggest lessons from MH370 is that even a massive aircraft can disappear from radar. Today, AI-driven systems are being developed to monitor aircraft across multiple networks, satellites, GPS, and air traffic feeds in real time. Unlike human controllers, AI can process these overlapping data streams instantly, flagging any inconsistencies or sudden signal loss. In the future, no aircraft should be able to vanish without an immediate automated alert. AI is also being integrated into aircraft maintenance and flight operations. By analyzing data from thousands of sensors on a plane, machine learning can detect patterns that humans might overlook. A tiny fluctuation in engine performance, a small change in fuel use, or an unusual control input all could be flagged by AI as early warning signs of mechanical failure or human error. This predictive capability may prevent accidents before they happen. If a crash does occur, AI could transform the way searches are conducted. Instead of years of combing through ocean currents and sonar data, AI could instantly model debris drift, analyze satellite imagery, and prioritize likely crash zones within hours. Autonomous drones and underwater vehicles, guided by AI, could be dispatched immediately, mapping and scanning areas faster than any human-led mission. Another lesson from MH370 is the reliance on physical black boxes. If they are lost in deep ocean waters, so too is the evidence they hold. The aviation industry is already exploring black box in the cloud technology, where AI systems transmit critical flight data in real time to secure servers. In the event of an accident, investigators wouldn't need to recover the recorder from wreckage. The data would already be saved. Finally, AI has the potential to bridge gaps between nations. Aviation disasters often involve passengers from many countries, and investigations can become bogged down in politics. A transparent, AI-driven global monitoring system could create a neutral ground where data is shared instantly and securely, preventing disputes over access to evidence. The aviation industry has always learned from its darkest moments. From the reforms after the Tenerife disaster in 1997, to safety overhauls following Air France Flight 447 in 2000 and 2009, each tragedy has forced progress. MH370 is no different, except its unanswered questions have driven not just engineering changes, but also breakthroughs in how we think about technology itself. Artificial intelligence is part of that legacy. It has turned frustration into innovation, taking the overwhelming chaos of oceans, radar signals, and flight data and turning it into something structured, something searchable. It offers not certainty, but possibility. And in aviation, that difference matters. For airlines, AI means greater accountability. For passengers, it means peace of mind. And for investigators, it means no accident, no matter how remote, will ever again be beyond the reach of human understanding. For families of MH370 victims, these advancements come too late to save their loved ones. But their tragedy has accelerated innovation. Every lesson learned, every tool developed, brings us closer to a world where no plane can ever vanish so completely again. And in that sense, the future of AI in aviation is not just about technology, it's about restoring trust in the skies. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and click on the next video shown on your screen.